Thanks again to Carbon Health for being our presenting sponsor. If you are a regular here, you know I've talked about Carbon Health and how long I've talked about Carbon Health and why I love Carbon Health. They help with things like COVID, cold, flu testing, antibiotic prescriptions for things like infections, UTIs, STDs. They have primary care services in California and Massachusetts. But if you're new here, thank you, by the way, for stopping by. You should also know that they can help with injuries as well. Most of their locations have imaging or x-ray machines so they can diagnose strains, sprains, and fractures if you unfortunately become injured. And I know, unfortunately, not everyone will be near one of the 120 plus locations, but they do have virtual urgent care services for states like California, New York, Florida, and several others. So thank you to Carbon Health. Really, really happy to be working with them. Check out the link in the description. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Big Thing Sith Council. Happy Wednesday to all of you. There's some stories going on, man. We got Ahsoka. Apparently, Thrawn is going to be the big bad villain, as we thought, but he's going to be pure evil, according to Dave Filoni. Boba Fett. Seems like we might get a season 2. Robert Rodriguez playing a little coy, man. We got Visions. Season 2 and Season 3 is already greenlit. Steph loved it. I loved it. I wonder if what Mike thought of it. My guess is he didn't watch it. And then we also have Kathleen Kennedy talking about Taika Waititi's movie again, and also making a big announcement that she decided that they're going to follow the James Bond structure every 3 years, and totally forgot that George Lucas already did that. So let's get into the entire show, but before we do it, remember, we're going to be in New York on June 23rd. Make sure you get your tickets, thekristianharloff.com. Get your tickets today. And the 24th, Stamford, Connecticut. Myself, Mark Ellis, Corey and Martin from Double Toasted doing a show together. Some stand-up beforehand. Going to have a blast, so make sure you join us. All right, guys. Let's get into it. It is the Sith Council Big Thing Show. It's me, it's Steph, it's Mike. Let's do it.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Big Thing Sith Council. Myself.
Ahoy, I'm Kristian Harloff.
That's ahoy. Perfect.
Ahoy, matey.
And then, where's this animal? There he is.
Top of the morning to you. Evening and afternoon, wherever you are.
That's close to a Truman Show. I like that. Look at that.
What?
And then, look at this one. Look at this one. We got this shot here.
Look at that.
We got this shot here.
What did you call it?
Almost.
Double Trouble? Or no, what was it?
Thieves.
Thick as Thieves. Thick with 3 C's, baby.
Yeah.
Thick with 3 C's.
Yup.
But we have a lot to talk about.
That's what my dumper is right now.
Perfect. Mike. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for everything you contribute here. I really appreciate it.
right.
You know, we did the full live show. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
It was a blast. We had
blast.
140, 150 people there.
Yeah.
It was really good, and we got a chance. So, by the way, for people who still want to see it, you can go on thekristianharloff.com. You can check out the entire thing. We aired the live event portion of the show on last week's episode, so if you want to see it, it's there. But if you want to see the full show, you can go to the Kristian Harloff to check it out. All right, let's get into. I also got a bunch of questions from the audience.
Yay.
Also,
Okay.
But we have some topics that we should get into, and let's start it off. So the very first one that we have here is this Dave Filoni story talking about Ahsoka. I know that Steph is super excited about Ahsoka. I know we're all excited about Ahsoka, and it seems to be kind of leading into the big movie. But this is what Filoni was talking about. Dave Filoni says that Grand Admiral Thrawn will be a straight-up villain in the New Republic era. Not even just the show. It says New Republic era. Ahsoka cast on the themes of found family and more. So here is the article over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. Those are our friends over there at Star Wars Newsnet. And the article is, of course, from our buddy Miguel Fernandez. A part of Empire Magazine's 20-page coverage of the Star Wars franchise in their summer 2023 episode, Dave Filoni and Ahsoka cast shared a few words about the upcoming series, including some of the challenges of bringing Grand Admiral Thrawn to live action. Filoni's trepidations about finally directing a Star Wars film for the big screen is also covered, and we've also highlighted some of the quotes in the story from Kathleen Kennedy. It's time to focus on Ahsoka. We know that Lars Mikkelsen's coming back as Grand Admiral Thrawn. The character was created by Timothy Zahn in the Heir to the Empire novels, and that's Filoni is keeping that in mind while writing for the show. He has also added that he's been planting the seeds for character for years, whether it is all the way in Bad Batch Season 2. And even though the new Thrawn canon novels painted him as a misunderstood anti-hero, Filoni says that he will be the straight-up bad guy in his story, akin to the way it was in Rebels. This is his quote. He's definitely the bad guy in the New Republic era in my eyes. When Timothy Zahn wrote Heir to the Empire, Thrawn became this iconic villain because he was different than anything that we'd seen before. He wasn't another helmet-wearing, lightsaber-wielding bad guy. There's a lot to pull off to make characters that are like Vader because it's so iconic. But the boldness that Tim had was to make somebody that wasn't like that he didn't have the abilities, but he could fight in a different way. In the word Star Wars, the war part of it, him being a Grand Admiral, a leader, a military strategist, someone that will outthink you, outstrategize you, that really resonated. He's a critical player in this time period, and we're fortunate to have that character and fortunate to have Lars playing him. Empire also asked Dave Filoni about his reaction when Kathleen Kennedy asked him to direct. It was an emotional moment for him, and he said, "I don't assume anything. I don't think that I deserve anything. Kathy, upon seeing my work in the live-action realm, was like, Dave, we have to have you do a movie." My goodness, a person like that telling you that is an amazing thing. But I always look at myself and say, am I ready to do that? I appreciate that, and I think that she would know. But it's got to be the right story, and it's got to be the right group of people backing you up. A big reason why I felt confident going into live action at all was because Kathy was here. She's been a big supporter of me along the way, so it's a great moment, but I immediately think of the responsibility. I immediately think of the job that it's going to entail, and I want to make sure that I can do it. But he still has his feet on the ground, not because of humility, but because he's aware that George Lucas, it is his galaxy. The first time I ever remember as a kid noting the term directed by, it was directed by George Lucas. That's the thing I never lose sight of. It's George's galaxy. I just try to learn as much about it so I can execute it faithfully. What a fun galaxy it is. And as far as the cast goes, they're talking about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Hera, and she said this is described this as the through line of the show. The strength that they need to go through requires them to come back and redefine that as family. Rosario Dawson says that she likes that there isn't any structure to this. There's no boss over them. There's no one telling them that they have to do this. It's a carryover from Rebels, and these people are true believers, and it makes it very special. And then she says that the series will be for everyone, even if you didn't finish Rebels. She said that immediate connection between them is such a strength because you trust that there's a history there, you feel it. For the ones who have been anticipating this story to go on for a long time, they're going to feel really happy. All right. She also said that the Empire also said that the Loth Cat is the latest animatronic creation from the Legacy team, and Ahsoka is targeting an August release date. Filoni wrote all 8 episodes and directed more than one of them. Okay, so a lot there. So the first part of all this is let's talk about the director part of it. What I will say is this: do I agree that, or do I believe that Filoni, when he says, I credit Kathy for this, she gave me the shot, and it's because of her that I'm able to do this, and I didn't know if I was ready. I believe 98% of that. I believe that he absolutely credits Kathleen Kennedy for taking a shot at him, from allowing him to do it. She's the one in charge. I do feel that they have this relationship now where she knows what he's capable of doing. Him saying, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. I remember talking to the guy at Star Wars Celebration in 2017 and saying, when are they going to do this? This was his quote. When I said to him outside of this restaurant, I saw him and we walked up to him and said, when are they going to give you a live action, man? He goes, whenever they do, I want to do it. He's like, you just keep letting them know because I want to do it. He's been wanting to do a live action for a long time, and he's done it in TV, and now he's doing this movie. And yeah, and look, this is what we always say. And we'll be critical more because there's more stuff with Kathleen Kennedy later. I'm sure we'll be critical on some of the stuff that she said, the way that she presents stuff. However, the things that we have said is she's a good producer, and she understands how to do certain things. She puts things together. So by finding Dave, trusting in Dave, I think it's a good shot, Steph.
Yeah, I think that it makes sense. It was only a matter of time before Dave Filoni would direct a live action, especially if they're going to make this entire series or like new movie around the New Republic and Ahsoka. That's his character, and I feel like that's the right passage of the torch for that sort of story. I can't imagine anyone else telling it differently, but there is some, you do have to trust someone to go from animation to live action.
Sure.
I don't know I'm sure there are many who have made that jump, but I don't know them at the top of my head. Most people start in live action,
Right.
stay in live action.
What do you think, Mike? So any of these comments, what kind of, I guess out of all this, because there was a lot there in the Empire magazine. I mean, it's 20 pages, and that was just a portion of it. Anything that particularly stood out to you inside of that article?
It's interesting because you said you talked to him in 2017, right? So that was before he had done live action.
It was 2017, yeah, right?
It was before he had done any live action
Right.
directing.
Yeah.
And I know when it comes to like Batman, I can say so many people have wanted Bruce Timm, famous for the animated series, to direct a live action Batman film. But it's a different thing. It's when you're directing animation, you're working with the way it looks, but then you got your voice director
Right.
directing the actors,
Right.
and whereas if you're doing animation, you're not working with actors, and that's a different skill.
But he did though. But Filoni did do that for Rebels and Clone Wars. He did both.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also it's directing. You see all these comments from Nolan about him and Cillian Murphy right now with how much he'll work with him forever because they've had that connection. And I'm an actor when I work. I like to be directed. I love an director that has a vision and I can work with them on that instead of just me coming in blindly.
Right.
Well, this is what I got. So, but he then proved it with the live action that he's done. So it's like, if this was before and he'd never done this and they just want to give him a movie, then it's a little bit like, this is going to be a big, we're going to see. But he's proven it. And TV, to me, I think TV is harder than film.
Yeah, in a certain aspect, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So I think it's
just there's so much pressure for the
sure,
movie.
it's your $1 billion.
Yeah.
You got to, everyone, you got $100 billion or it's not as good as the sequels. Like all
Right.
that's added to it. Except television, there's a lesser, it's looked at as a different lens, and it shouldn't be.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's just a different avenue for it. But I think, of course, if anyone's going to do it, it's him.
You hope so. And I think
Yeah.
that there is this, it seems like certain sect of like, there's Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Favreau, Rick Famuyiwa, and then the other side over here, you got Leslie Headland, and then Kathleen Kennedy will go over there and check that out. She's involved in that. And then there's Tony Gilroy all the way over here. He's completely separated from them. And then she'll come over and get involved over there. And it's like they're not connected, right? They have their own philosophies on it because I think that Dave Filoni's philosophy on Star Wars and Gilroy are night and day.
100%.
100%.
Night and day. Like there's no world where you're going to hear it. But if I was to guess, I would say because of the quotes that we just read, I bet you if you ask Filoni, hey, are you a fan of Andor? Oh, I love it. I love what Tony did, and I think that's what he's going to tell you on the thing. I don't think he's a fan of it. You know why? Because if anything doesn't follow the George Lucas all philosophies, it's that. This is like a spy thriller, and then it's not the faster, intense thing that he was talking about with episodes, which I think is better. Like what Tony Gilroy did is what they should be doing for all series, not the structure and that, but focusing in on character, focusing in on the story elements, and not just faster, more intense. That's movies. That's not TV.
I agree, but also it's interesting because, and maybe I don't know if there was never an Andor, if I would have not been as harsh on Mando 3. I don't know if
Right.
it changed my being. I'm older, and what I want to gravitate towards. But what I would love.
It's more mature writing.
I would love, how they do at the end of Mando the season they do in the gallery and it's all directors sitting around. But I would love like Gilroy, Filoni, Lucas, and a couple of people in there and just take the safety rails off.
Well, that's
and
but
just
that's, but that-
really
but that's
talk.
what makes me nervous.
Well, because we talk about this. We joke. We always say like, they everything is awesome crowd. And everything about Star Wars is awesome, and there's no critical thing. Those people, Fuyama, Gilroy, they will criticize what did work,
Right.
even in their own things, because not everything is always awesome.
But you have to. But the thing is, Steph, for me, is that the thing that makes me nervous. Like I'm very excited for Filoni's movies. I can't wait for Ahsoka. I think that the fact that he's writing it all, I think he's going to be really invested in it. I think they're going to be longer episodes, and I think we're going to get more of the character development. I do. The thing that makes me nervous is how locked in he is to George's everything George did. Like the faster, more intense. George Lucas was the guy, right? He was the reason why we're sitting here talking about this in general. But let's not forget, there's a lot. I have found a new love for the prequels. There's no doubt about
100%.
it. However, we can't sit here and say that those are excellently written films. They're not. They're entertaining films. They're not. The dialogue is average at best, and there's a lot. And the faster, more intense stuff A, doesn't always work, and B, it works for movies. Faster, more intense for television? No, thank you. Like, develop.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of things that strategy-wise, that, like, 'cause if you ask me, like you said, beforehand, Andor and Mandalorian, someone says, what are you looking forward to more, Andor or Mandalorian? Mandalorian season 4 or Andor season 2, or Andor in general, before I saw it, you know, like, what are you talking about? I don't know the answer to that question.
I know. Now I'm like, if to get Mando season 4, if let's say it was greenlit, I'll say Andor 2 is what I'm looking forward to
Right.
more. Just because.
Right after what have you done for me
what I've
lately?
seen, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I'm definitely more excited for Andor
Yeah.
right now. I think like what we've talked about time and time again, which I think is important for creators to take into account, which I do as a creator on a smaller scale, is that our viewership, the way we view things and digest things and view the world has completely changed from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s to now. And so we have a different understanding about the lore of Star Wars, like the fascism,
Right.
all of these political things. I think were told perfectly in the 70s, 80s for the time. And now Tony Gilroy, I feel like, executed that in a way where it's like, oh, because I'm up to, maybe because we're adults now.
Right.
Like, I get this, and this feels like more like depth in this
Sure.
same thing. So it's not like I think it goes so far out of George Lucas's realm. I think it really hits it in the today world. But I do get a little nervous not nervous. I do trust Dave Filoni, but it's a different style. So I'll view it through a different
Right.
lens. It's a little more spoon-fed.
Yeah, but I just hope also that it's not like, you know, that's what when people always say, like, I'll be honest, after hearing a lot more of these comments from Filoni, and people are like, would you want him to take over Lucasfilm? My answer to that question now is no, because I don't want all of that to always be follow this, what George says, follow this all the time, because you can make it outside, and you've got to evolve it. Now, you can't go so far off the map that doesn't feel like it. Like, I've mentioned this quote a million times over, and it's my favorite quote.
I know what you're saying, I think.
The homage thing.
Oh, nope, never mind.
My favorite quote is from Favreau when he said, we're not making an homage to Star Wars here. We're making an homage to the stuff that inspired Star Wars. And I felt that was lost in Mandalorian Season 3. In the first one, you get a lot of that Western stuff and the samurai stuff in Season 2 and all that. It was all there. It was missing. And that's more important than faster, more intense, the same type of stuff that it's like you can evolve over George's ideas and still write and make characters worth something.
You know, the quote that I hear a lot is always, you know, whenever you are critical of it, it's always like, oh, it's space wizards and laser swords. It's supposed to be for kids. And I hate that because
comment.
I go to Andor, but then I look at, and again, it's my own fault because I got turned off on Bad Batch. But then towards the end, when they were doing that stuff with soldiers coming back from war and not knowing their place, which is very much what our soldiers are dealing with now, that was incredibly adult, but told through the lens of an animation and more palpable for children. So it does work. And I that end of season 3 or end of season 2 Bad Batch, I was like, oh, if it's more of this instead of the animation, the episodes where, you know, Lizzo and Jack Black in an animated, like, oh, we're going to these quirky characters for the side mission. Like, that's not for me. But still, it's animation, but it's still dealing with adult themes. But it doesn't, you know, it's not, I'm not
It's
saying
like Stranger Things, right? Like, Stranger Things is an homage to the 80s.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's for kids, but it's also really made well where it fits in today. It's a modern show, but it's an homage to the things
And feels authentic to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, look, here's the other thing that we should also say is that, as you said, it's a what have you done for me lately, the last thing I saw. Now, the flip side to that is Filoni's going to put everything he's got into Ahsoka because it's the next thing after Mandalorian, and it also is the continuation to his baby of not only Ahsoka, but the continuation of Rebels and all that. So the same feeling that we've had where Mandalorian Season 3 was just okay. Yeah. If Ahsoka is incredible and even better than what we loved about, you know, Andor, people are going to go, oh, it should be more like Ahsoka. It's just that's just what happens, right?
Yeah.
Now, I just think that, you know, it's just a matter. I think what it does show is this, and I don't care who tells you what. There's no world where Dave Filoni was super involved in Mandalorian Season 3. There's no world.
Well, because he was on Ahsoka.
100%. And I'm not saying that he wasn't around. I'm not saying that he wasn't near, but there's no shot he was writing and on set as much as he was for 1 and 2 his stamp was missing. You could feel it.
Do you feel that? And because what's Favreau doing right now? Has he got a different film?
Well, he's producing Skeleton Crew.
Okay, so was it a little bit more of like, okay, season 1 and season 2, man, these are our babies. We're going to be here every day, shepherding it, this and that. Okay, we know what we're doing. We're going to trust more of the directors. It kind of runs itself at this point. We're kind of lost that guardianship of it a little bit. Maybe if it just feels completely different than season 1 and 2. It just does.
I buy into some of the stuff of the behind the scenes stuff. I buy into
the Pedro stuff.
Pedro
100%.
creative choices that they didn't want to do and other things. I buy into it, and I think that it's like that's what happens over there. Is what it seems to be. Is, oh yeah, go do that thing. Oh, it's real successful. Well, we want you to do this now. And it's like, don't do that. Let them do what they were doing already.
Keep doing what you're doing,
and then just take the credit for it. It's fine. But then there's so much still. But I'm very excited for Ahsoka. I love the idea as far as Thrawn goes and the villain side of it goes. It does also prove real quick though that I think that, like I said, Filoni is not a fan of the new canon books. He doesn't try to keep. I mean, in my opinion, this is not a fact, but like he doesn't. He's not going to go. Oh yeah, well they did this in the book and they made him like this in those novels, so that's how we have to do it. He doesn't give a crap. To him, what canon is animated, live action TV, live action films. That's canon to Dave Filoni. It ain't the books, so he doesn't care what the books in the new canon books said. He'll talk to Timothy Zahn, but he's going to go, we need a Thanos. And do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely do. But the good news is that I loved Thrawn's interpretation in Rebels. Like, he is really a cool villain. And I like that he's like this hardcore military leader who's more like willing to play the long game.
Strategist.
He's a strategist, which makes sense for this merger between Mandalorian and Ahsoka.
Right.
That he's the perfect villain for that.
Yeah. And
because we'll get him in season 4 of Mandalorian.
Oh, you think Thrawn will be in season 4? You think?
I think so.
Do you think he's the big baddie of the movie?
I think he's the big bad. Well, I think that was the quote, right? The quote was that he didn't say he's the big bad of Ahsoka. He said he's the big bad of the New Republic.
Which is all Mandalorian right now.
Yeah, and that looks like he's the new emperor, which is what he should be.
Yeah.
So, that was just one story. We got other things coming up too. But before we do, I got to tell you guys about Mint Mobile. I love what Ryan Reynolds has been doing with Mint Mobile and the company in general, because after years of fine print contracts and you get ripped off by those big wireless providers. If you learned anything, there's always a catch. And I heard about Mint Mobile a long time ago, man, when we were doing SEN. And I heard that they offer premium wireless just at $15 a month. I remember when they said that. I said, yeah, right. What's the catch? But I've talked to them, I used them, and it makes sense. There's no catch. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they are the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and they pass those sweet savings directly to you. The quality is really good. It's just no drop stuff. It's amazing how clear it is. And honestly, I understand why they have the name Mint. And anybody who's just not excited about their phone bill in general, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. It gives you the best rate, whether you're buying for one or a family. And at Mint, families start at 2 lines. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Get a new wireless plan, just $15 a month, and get that plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/thing. Mintmobile.com/thing. Cut that wireless bill down, man. $15 a month. Mintmobile.com/thing. Have you done this yet?
No, I haven't.
Jeez, this is such a
Sounds
smart,
awesome, though.
It's just such a smart idea.
That was Ryan Reynolds' old company, right?
Yeah, well, he sold it off, but he
did.
But he's still involved in it. So I like what he did there a lot. So if you haven't checked it out, it's going to cut it down significantly, and it's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get to. I wanted to get to the questions, but before we do that,
what do you got?
We got some more stories here. We got this Robert Rodriguez one, but before we do that, I really want to cover Visions because all these episodes came out. I saw Steph's tweet. She was obsessed with it. She watched all of them.
All of them.
Steph, give your full kind of breakdown review. What did you think of Visions season 2? Like it better, same as the first?
I I want to go back and watch season 1 because I think I still liked season 1 better in terms of more episodes I would put on a higher tier than season 2. But the season 2 episodes that I loved are just right there. And maybe I'm biased because of the anime, and this is world animation. But I like that they went world animation as just to oppose season 1 was just Japanese anime. I think it's so great. It really is a reminder to us viewers like how vast the galaxy is, how many stories there could be told with just like the simple lore of Star Wars, and they just executed it so well. There's the first episode of this called Sith.
Yep.
You gotta watch this one. The animation of it might be one of my favorite animation
It's so
looks.
slick.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is. So, Mike, I'm correct. You didn't watch any of these, right?
You are correct, sir.
Atta girl.
I'll tell you which ones to watch.
I'll watch them all.
But I will say there was like ones like I Am Your Mother. I was like just not in a mood for kiddie stuff.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't watch it, and then I did, and it's one of my favorites. I loved it.
What I liked about this one, I think I still like season 1.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it was even the stuff. There's some animation that just didn't work for me, but that's just me that we reacted to anime. I thought all of this, not anime, just the animation, like the Wallace and Gromit stuff. I like that style when I'm watching Wallace and Gromit, but it took me out of it a little bit. But the actual story itself, all of the stories were solid and emotional. This is when that one episode when all those people are thrown into that
Oh my god.
hole and they have to like try to get out of it, and it's like that. It's almost like the Raza Ghul, or the what's it called?
So dark.
Dark Knight Rises. The Pit.
Yeah, but what's the name of that group called?
League of Shadows.
Yes, the League of Shadows. So
Still got it.
you still got it. So the League
my belt?
for the belt. I know it's over here somewhere. The League of Shadows is it has that type of feel at one point, right? But there's just these really solid episodes. I'm with you that the first one is my favorite, the Sith. But there's the one in all Japanese, like with it was all subtitles.
In season 2?
Wasn't it?
It was in season.
No, there was one. There was all was it not? I thought it was all Japanese. Maybe it wasn't Japanese, but there was one that was just all subtitles, and it was not in English. There was one full.
Really?
Yeah, there was one full episode.
I watched it all through.
Yeah,
so I might have just blocked it out.
blocked it out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's one.
I watch a lot of shows with subtitles.
No, it was the one with the girl that was. Remember
the Golok?
with the crystals. You know the one with
Oh,
with
yeah.
the crystals where the little girl finds the crystal and the villagers
Au?
are. Yes.
The sound,
yeah, that
Song
one.
of Au?
The Song of Au, isn't I thought that was all. We'll have to go check.
Yeah,
People can
that's
tell me
funny.
if I'm wrong, but I thought it was all in Japanese. Maybe
That's
I'm wrong.
funny. Yeah, I thought the storytelling is just so cool. I can't believe what they can do. In 15 minutes, I know all the characters. I know the
Yes.
story. I'm invested. It's crazy. I just love that approach to their storytelling. Yeah, some of them were, the one with the pit was really dark. I
It was
actually
dark.
didn't like it.
Oh, you didn't like that one, yeah.
Because it was like, yeah, it just was like the one person who dies in the whole series. It just felt really dark.
Yeah.
I didn't. You guys know I like happy endings.
Yeah, it was really hold it in. Hold it in.
Dude, shut the hell up.
Grow up. Grow up. Look at him.
Your face. Because you called me. You saw my train of thought. I'm like,
Hold it in. Will ya? Anyway, so
whoops.
I thought that the
Child.
series in
Child.
general was really good. Well, the other thing I will say is that and I've been saying this every time I talk about the team that's over there working on Visions, and they have season 3 that was greenlit, which they should have, because but the team that's working on the stories over there is the same team that's working on the stories of Jedi Survivor, which I'm also playing.
Me too.
This team gets Star Wars, guys.
Yes.
Let them work on live action.
so hold on a second. So this team writes them and then they send them to the different animation
It's not
studios.
just the team. It's like it's the team within Lucasfilm that's working on them, and then the team.
Their studios.
Yeah, like it's the team. It's basically the executives that are put on the project, and then
Yeah.
they bring on the writers, and they bring on they know okay, this is our pun intended vision to do what we want to do here. We're going to get this person. Let's take this team. This is ultimately what I wish the big picture would do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I know what we want to do, and we know we want you for it.
Yeah.
This is our overall, idea for it. Can you make that happen? And they go, yes. Okay, well, let's work with these really talented, as far as Jedi Survivor goes. talented game people and then other people who create the stories, put it all together, and then you get this. And there's a reason why people are responding to it. It feels like people who understand Star Wars.
Yeah,
it really does.
There's not a bad episode of Visions. There's
No.
really not. Even the one I
story's
didn't
great.
like isn't because it was bad. It was because I was sad.
Right. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You just
but-
don't like feeling like that.
Right, I don't at all. But Jedi Survivor, as you guys know, I'm a new PC owner.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're a PC gamer?
I'm a PC gamer now. Not a big deal. I can't believe how I really feel like a Jedi.
That opening scene was so good. You're probably a lot farther than I am. Did you see my video that I posted about it?
Yeah, I put on because I'm on Padawan level, and so I put on settings to give me hints.
Oh, that's not what happened to me.
I thought you said you were going in the wrong. You couldn't find the right direction.
No, I was finding my way, doing everything fine, and then the guy jumps up on a sign, and it glitches, and he goes right on top of the sign, and he starts going like this.
No
He
way.
just stays there like this, and I'm like, get off the sign, and he's just like,
Oh, yeah, because you're supposed to like run through the sign.
he's supposed to run on it and jump up, and
Yeah.
it just like freezes. It's like, come
That's
on, guy.
hilarious.
Yeah, I'll show you the video.
Oh
of
my
it. It's just like, I
God,
just stopped
now
and I called Frank Janish because I called Janish a few times, and I'm like, all right, where am I going now? Because this thing's not telling me where to go. This was more simple. I was making it more of a problem. But he's like,
No,
he's like, are you gonna make it a Twitch stream? And I was like, probably, eventually. But anyway, as far as visions go, that's it was great. But
Great.
you know what I'm gonna do? Let's actually. I don't want the Taika stuff and the other stuff. Let's hold on. I want to get to these questions.
Great. I agree.
I want to get to the questions. And
That's awesome. Is that new?
no, it's been there for a little bit. That's Wicked Art. He did that. So it's new for using it for the questions.
I was going to
but-
say, that's awesome.
all right, the first one. Forceman 47.7. I have two separate questions. One, how much do you think that the writer's strike is going to affect Star Wars projects? Two, do you feel the compressed time frame of the sequel trilogy, all taking place over the course of about a year, will limit the ability to fill out and fix it? Well, I mean, look, even though we think, and I happen to agree with you, that they could fill it out and fix it, there's no one saying that Lucasfilm feels like they have to fill it out and fix it.
Does he mean it like with the prequels, with the Clone Wars, what that did? And
Yeah,
there's that
kinda like
time period
doing
where
that
it
type of
allowed a
stuff.
lot of time
Right,
in there.
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
see
you
what you're saying.
could potentially do that. Like the thing is, and he didn't do this, but the thing that drives me nuts, and I see it all the time, is when people are going, "Well, Disney really messed up Star Wars." No, if you think that it's messed up, and I think there's a lot of problems with it, you point your finger at Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm is the one making the creative decisions as far as what movies are being made, when they're coming out, what shows are coming out. It's like, well, Disney's really messed up the ball. Maybe Disney's messed up the ball by not saying, hey, we'd like you to, maybe try to put out movies earlier, do this financially. But if you're going to point the finger creatively, point it at Lucasfilm. It drives me crazy. Disney doesn't know how to make Star Wars films. Disney gives the check. Disney puts the money in.
Yeah, no one wants their paradigm to fall.
Yeah,
that
right.
It's Star Wars.
They're putting them.
Lucasfilm.
They give the check and they say, "Here, do this." And Lucasfilm goes, "We want to do a show about this. We want to do a movie about this." Okay, well, great. Here's the money. Now go do it and make us money. That's what
Make
they
sure
do.
we can stick it in our theme parks and make sure this.
That's
and
right. That's right.
we'll be happy.
It drives me nuts. But it's not to say that they're not to blame for other things, but not the creative side of it.
To the first question, though, I saw Tony Gilroy is not going to be producing season 2 of Andor while the
Right, that
writers
just came out recently,
Yeah, which
right.
is
It's-
great, I think, because he's a writer first and foremost.
Right. I think he's probably getting a lot of blowback about that too, because what happened was he was at that Collider event where they were screening Andor, and he was supposed to be at that Collider event. Andy Serkis was there, and there was other producer there, and Gilroy didn't show up because, from what they said, there was somebody that I met recently. I met somebody I was at the movie club event that Campy and myself and Greg Alba did, and there was a fan who was at it afterwards, and he said, I was at that event for Andor, and the other producer there said Tony couldn't be here. He was dealing with an emergency, basically because the writer's strike was just announced, so he had to go turn some stuff in and start moving. The plan was, I think, for him to start doing stuff, but he probably got a lot of crap from people going, you can't do it.
Stuff. Yeah.
He's got to stop.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, and people have asked me this too, and I think, it'll be on tomorrow's episode, a big thing, but how long I think the writer's strike is going to go for,
Months.
End of July, early August.
months.
And it could all be stopped because they're not asking for more than they're.
But they don't see
there's
that. The studios don't see that. They
That's
don't.
crazy.
Wait, it's not about seeing. This is strategic. They don't want to. They want this to happen right now. You understand that, right? Because they right. So understand this. The studios knew that the contract was coming up, and then there was going to be this portion, and they all sat. The studios understood. Once we get to May, guys, like there's probably going to be a strike. Well, good, because we need to make cuts. We need to. There's all these streaming things that we have in place. We have to push. We have some stuff in the can right now. Push it back. How long do we think we can hold out before it starts to hurt us financially? All of that is discussed. There's no world where the studios
More
want
anticipating.
this. Well, that they don't. That the studios don't want this to end tomorrow. So where it's like it all could end tomorrow. Sure, studios need it to last for a little bit. This just doesn't hurt the studios right now. It helps them because it helps them
playing out game.
Yeah, 100% it is.
But it's so wrong.
But I'll tell you this, like, and my union is going to be, we're up next in September, October.
Our union dirtbag.
What? You're SAG? Are you?
Yeah,
I
probably
didn't know
made
that.
it before you. When did you get in?
Well, I was eligible for
When did you get in?
2011.
Yeah, eat it. 2007. Next.
Okay. All right. Anyway. But what we were dealing with in 2007, 2008, right after the writer's strike, was like, oh, new media. We don't know what this streaming new media is, so we can't do residuals. You absolutely know how much shows are being watched and this and that. So for the writers, they know now. It's like, well, we still don't know with streaming and how to quantify how many people watch it to based on residuals. Like, yeah, you absolutely do know. You've had 16
it's also
years to
the
figure
AI
this out.
stuff and all that. It's really
AI was thrown in there.
Oh, listen, it's going
And
to
then
be
the fucking Andy comes out yesterday. He's like, my actors don't want the same thing as writers. And everyone's
was
just
so
like,
bad.
are you out of your damn mind,
I
woman?
love Fran Drescher. That was
Nah,
so
that was
stupid. That was
tone
so
deaf.
tone
Bad
deaf.
comments.
It was bad.
But
Tone deaf.
that's the thing.
Really
though, man. It's
bad.
like it comes down to that. It's like don't where a lot of people feel the way you do, Steph. It's like, oh well, the studios can just end this tomorrow because they're not asking for a lot. This is for them. This is better for their business right now because
I
they're going to
know.
lose. They're going to cut a lot of costs here, and when it's time, because unfortunately, it's the writers that are going to be the ones who are getting hit in the pocket
Of course,
until
'cause
like
they're the ones that have families and
and
they're rent.
right, July and August, because as the studios, everybody stays employed. They lose the budgets that they were going to lose money to by doing this. So they gain something out of this. The writers are trying to gain something through negotiation, but they're ultimately losing a lot of finances for the risk that they're taking.
The model is just so bad.
Yeah, well, the model is streaming, the AI stuff. They got to
But
figure.
like CEOs
Hearing-
making $50 million
Hearing-
is
Who,
like
say that?
like CEOs of these companies making $50 million is just outrageous.
And I'm glad people are out there talking about like when writer sells a show for $100,000, what they actually end up making is like
Like
20,000.
20,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
But it's
For the
like,
whole
But there's
year.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of different things inside of it that little things that'll kind of play that I don't even want to pretend that I know a lot
Yeah.
about. But I just think, as far as the overall question of when I think it's going to last, it will last until July, August. Do I think it's going to impact Star Wars? Not really, no, because I think there's a reason why.
You don't think it's going to push stuff back? Well, we don't have announcements yet,
No,
so we can't say that. But it's definitely pushing Andor back.
it's not pushing Andor back necessarily.
The
Sure it
script's
is.
already done, I think.
They shot a lot of it, dude. It's like it's.
So
the stuff
they
that's
can't be filming right now.
They're done. I think they're
done.
done.
With
I
season
thought they
2.
were-
Okay.
they're close to done.
Okay, I thought they
think
were in
that-
the middle of it.
Maybe they were, but I thought they were close to done
Okay.
from what I thought. But either way,
Didn't know that.
I thought he was doing production stuff. I thought that's what it was. I could be wrong.
Post-production?
I
People-
think he was in
I
production.
think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Post-production.
I don't know.
Okay.
though.
I think he was in post, but people will tell us whether we're wrong or not.
It'll
I
affect
thought that,
reshoots though.
well, yeah, sure, but it's TV though. Reshoots for movies and TV are different because you can get
okay.
episode 1 unless it's reshoots for like episode 1.
never know.
But remember, also, we also don't know when it's coming out, right?
That's the
because
thing.
because here's the thing: as far as scheduling and what Disney could ultimately do as far as pushing back, right? It's amazing how my wife never knows that I'm on the air. Every time. But what they could do is right now we have Skeleton Crew that we still don't even know when that's coming out. They haven't announced it. This is a smart thing that they do.
That should
because
be
what's
almost in the can though.
yes, that's done. They're ready to put it out. So Ahsoka will be August. Now the question that they're going to have is we've announced August. We'll probably put it late August. Now that leads into the end of the year, right? Or August?
No.
August. It's 8 episodes that they're going to do 8. So if you put it into the end of August,
Still got
so
2-3
September,
months
October,
left.
right? But what I'm saying is, then you wait, and then you put Skeleton Crew out at the end of December, like you did with Boba
Christmas
Fett.
special thing.
Now you have a show from December into January.
Yeah.
So your next show is Acolyte after that, and Acolyte's pretty much done.
Pretty much done.
And Acolyte will probably come out, and now if they wanted to, they could push that into, late April, maybe May, whatever. Maybe put it in August again if they wanted to. And then Andor will have
So it is
more than
affecting
enough
in the
time.
fact that it's just might be start shifting dates.
It's shifting dates.
It's definitely affecting.
Unless they were planning this, dude. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely going to affect the MCU more than it'll affect Star Wars.
Agreed.
That thing is.
Yeah,
in,
this is too much stuff.
they're in a lot of. That's
They have
going to
a
be
lot.
a
Yeah, but
bind
look at
for
Blade.
them.
Blade already took a hit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll say this right now on the air. Blade's not getting done. They
Ever-
don't have
ever?
a Blade movie. They're going to fold him into like one of those
Just have him show
special,
up or something.
special presentations like
Think so?
Werewolf by
Werewolf.
Night, and then
That's-
he'll pop in.
Well, you got to come on
That
Capes and
movie's
Cows
done.
and talk about it.
I will.
All right. So here's that's a big answer to a great question.
Great question.
Ronan Unchained. Hey, Sith Council. Well done at the Flappers Live show. Thank you very much. What's something you hope Lucasfilm keeps under wraps and doesn't start announcing information until Celebration Japan 2025? Personally, the release dates for the films. Let Filoni, Mangold, and the team behind the Rey film finish their scripts and take their time. I don't want one movie year again. Space them out and learn from your experience with the sequels. Okay, so a similar answer to what you're saying there, but and I think someone else asked this, so I'll be answering their question within this one. Kathleen Kennedy came out and said that that they were going to follow the Bond model.
Yeah.
And every 3 years they're going to put a movie out. Did she not work with George Lucas? George Lucas did that in 1977. Then he did it in 1980. Then he did it in 1983. Then he did it in
That
99,
quote
2002, 2005. But he did that already. So, but I'm not telling you the Bond doesn't do that. But this is the thing. Roxy the other day said this on the show, and I think that she nailed it. Kathleen Kennedy needs someone in PR to help her with interviews. No, but
I know you're being serious, but you're yeah.
But it's just to say, if you're gonna, first of all, why would you say that? Because you're now you're handcuffing yourself and saying, okay, well now, say Star Wars should be eventized. I think everybody wants it to feel like it's an event. Just say Star Wars is gonna feel like an event from now on. We're not gonna have specific every year. We're gonna put them out when it's time to put them out. And when we feel they're ready to go, and when people are ready, we're going to build it up and we're going to get people excited to see Star Wars. That's it. Well, now we're going to do it every 3 years. So we're not now. So by you saying that, 2025 we get the Rey movie. Then we don't get the Filoni movie in 2028. So how many more seasons of shows are you going to need? And then you don't get the Mangold thing until 2031?
It was-
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't get that quote. I was like, what are you talking
I don't
about? The
think
Bond
she
movies.
got that quote,
But I was just like, okay, first of all, there was a period where Bond did a movie every 2 years. Then the Craig ones were 06, 08, 12, 15, 21.
Right.
There was no, unless you said we're going to put them out when we know they're ready. But that quote made
But Steph,
no
the
sense.
idea of the event, it makes sense, right? But this particular quote,
No, it does. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I actually was gonna ask you guys because coming off the heels of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
Right.
I know that we're kind of all on the same page of like don't announce a trilogy, but I don't remember what they did with Guardians if they announced it was going to
No,
be
they
a trilogy.
didn't.
But the way they handled that trilogy is so what I want Star Wars to do if they're going to do that, where we didn't know it was going to happen, but now James Gunn has gone on record and said that he knew exactly where the story was going to
He had
go
an idea.
after the
Yeah.
first one was written, like at the same time. And I just think that like there is a way to do stuff.
of course there is, but
And- yeah.
but they just don't. But they don't have that kind of planning.
But they
over
don't
there.
have to
But
announce it.
What I love
is what
too,
I'm saying.
Stefan, you brought a great point. The fact that after Guardians 2, the stuff they did with the Guardians, James Gunn was like, I don't want to do that with them. But he took what was given
Yeah.
and worked with it.
Right.
And didn't try and come back for the third one and go, nope, remember that Gamora and him, they're going to be in love. It's like, no, he took what he was given
Right.
and worked it. That shows me how good of a writer he is.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, the 3 sequel trilogies, like, yep, that came, nope, not doing
Well,
this,
but there was
not doing this.
That's the connectivity
But
of
holy
having
crap.
one vision
Right,
for the
right,
whole thing.
right.
You nailed it.
But it's like so to answer the viewer's question. I think that it's holding under wraps, but still, like, just know what you're saying inside of it, and speak to the audience in it just comes out so corporate a lot of the times when she's doing these interviews, and that sounded so corporate.
It's
like
very political.
There's no reason to make that statement. Oh, we want it to feel like an event now, everybody. Just like everybody wants. It's an event, and it's going to come out every 3 years. I'm not going to mention George Lucas, though. Like, why wouldn't you mention George?
She over-explains things
so much.
It's like a woman trait. I will say it's one of our.
I didn't say that.
I'm saying it's not. I mean, I'm being for real. I think it's a societal, like, it's the result of society making us do that. And I've had to learn to be like, I don't owe anyone an explanation. That's like, I've really had to unlearn that behavior of over explaining. And I think like she falls like prey to that, unfortunately, where like she feels like she has to explain to the mob and she doesn't.
She's just not good in interviews.
I'm curious where, because I'm trying to think of other franchises that with a producer that, except for Feige and now Gunn, but like Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson for Bond, they don't come out every now and then and they'll just, we're working on one. When we get an actor, it'll be it. And we'll tell you when the film's coming out. They don't come out trying to do these like hype up. They know that, and Star Wars is massive compared. I mean, it's much bigger than Bond. But it's like,
so if you're going to do this, if you're going to say, all right, every 3 years, guys, and we're going to make it. So why don't you just mention the first movie with Rey? Why are you mentioning Filoni's movie? Why are you mentioning Mangold if we're not getting Mangold's movie for like 10 years?
And why? Because the three of them are not connected.
Right.
Why do they have to be 3 years apart?
So you're now telling me now if Mangold comes up with a take, and it's an amazing take, and he's like, I got this thing ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, Filoni's movie's next, and that's in 2028. So because I announced it now, 2031 is when your movie has to come out.
Holy crap.
2030. Why do you announce that movie? Mangold in 2031 could say, I don't want to direct anymore.
I got an offer from another studio to do this franchise.
There's no world where she sticks to this. You can't stick to this.
No.
I'll tell you, here's my prediction, by the way. I think I said it. I don't know if I said it on air, but I'll say it on air now. She stays. She's not going anywhere. This prediction of her going after Indiana Jones.
Think once? So could we change on that? Because you were going to be like when she's going to end on a high note with Indy.
I changed my mind.
I know you did,
but I'll tell
what
you
happened.
But I'll tell you why. Because I think that it makes more sense if she walks away after the Rey movie. Because if she right now, if Indiana Jones hits big, and she walks away with Star Wars still kind of in shambles, she's still there, regardless of the internet. People are going to look at it and go, well, yeah, but she didn't really. The tenure at Star Wars didn't really go as well as maybe she hoped it would. Yeah. Right? It's still kind of in shambles. However, if she hits with Indiana Jones and then the Rey movie makes $800,000 or $1 billion or whatever it is, and then she goes, okay, now I'm going to find my successor with the other two movies that I set up. Here you go. Then that's a hit for her. That's a success for her.
Or if that new person comes in and goes, I don't want to do these two movies.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. She's set up these things and she's left whatever. So like you're looking at it in a corporate way.
Yeah.
That's how she's going to set this up and that's probably why she's setting up this movie to do it well, because she's not going to walk away from this without a movie coming out. There's no way.
Did we ever talk? I know I didn't talk about it with you guys. The Lindelof was originally the 80-year-old Rey with Helen Mirren.
It was 60.
60-year-old Rey.
Well, no, it was like 60 years in the future. Excuse me. Yes. We talked about it last week briefly.
They should have gone with that. I think they would have distanced themselves from people that don't like the sequel trilogy.
I think creatively it was a good move, but I think box office wise, it's a big risk.
Okay, fair enough.
And she needs to hit because she needs
fair
to
enough.
Because like for the casual fan, you're gonna get my wife in the theater to see it because Rey's in a new movie.
Yeah.
She's not gonna care about an older Rey. And,
fair enough.
Creating new
and
Jedi.
like Vivi.
Yeah.
Like all
True. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wish we had, as a Lindelof fan, I just wish we had his writing.
I know, and I think that's part of the. So there's a lot going on over there. But here's the. So the answer to your question, it's take your time, but it's also interviews need to be much better as far as explanation. Like Steph said, don't over-explain. 11th Cub fan, if you had to pick one, which vision short would you want to see more of, either in a movie, a TV series, or another short in season 3? That's harder for me because I like them as kind of standalones. I think that's what makes it so special. It's like I don't necessarily. I mean, I guess whatever that one was that I really liked was that when the story of the one that they go into the cave and she sees that Sith in the cave and she fights it off and then the Sith recruits her and she takes off.
Screech?
Is that what it was? Was it Screech?
Oh yeah.
I like to see where like where does she evolve? That kind of gave me a Darth Bane, Xanis type feel.
Yeah, I think out of season 2, I can't remember season 1 right now. Definitely the Spy Dancer, the one where her son.
Did he ask for season 1?
No, I'm
Oh,
just
you're
saying
saying
season 2.
okay.
He didn't specify,
yeah.
but the Spy Dancer, I think, like, I'm like, do they reunite again?
That'd be great. And then from season 1, that council that they did. Remember that big council?
yeah,
that one too.
yes,
So,
totally.
Yeah, so those are some of the ones for sure. Thanks for chiming in, Mike. All right, next one.
You didn't ask me.
Oh,
so.
sorry. All right, so here, this is a good one. So think about this one while I ask it.
Okay.
So tell Kristian, now that we have at least 10 Star Wars series, what would your top 10 ranking be? His is the Clone Wars, the Mandalorian, the Clone Wars micro series. I've never seen that one.
That's the one with Scourge or Purge that you said there was not a bad. You said he was Grievous. As like, nope, this is a new villain. Wait,
right.
Glenn Tartanovsky's, right?
Oh, what was it? Is
I
that the
think
one?
that's Clone Wars micro series. I believe that's what he's talking about.
I don't know.
pretty smart, I think
Tales
I
of the
know.
Jedi, Andor, Visions, The Bad Batch, Rebels, Obi-Wan, The Book of Boba Fett.
Damn, Rebels is low.
That's really low. That's really low for me. It would be way high for me. So if I was doing it, looking at that list, I would say that for me, number 10. If the micro series is that one
It
that
is.
Mike's talking about, this is a tougher one to do. I would say because you have Bad Batch season 1 and season 2, but I guess in general, collective. Number 10 for me would be, that's tough. Shoot, man. Yeah, I'd probably put Book of Boba Fett at 10. Number 9, I would put the Bad Batch. Number 9, number 8, I'd put Obi-Wan. 7 would be Visions. I gotta look. I have to look. I have to probably do this over again.
Yeah, this is tough.
It's hard to do on the fly like this, but I would say
It's hard because a lot of these shows also, like Visions, are not canon.
Yeah, it's just I think she's just talking about series in general. But
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, look, it's harder to say, but I would also say that for me, because people are right away jumping on the Andor over Mandalorian because Mandalorian season 3 didn't deliver on the same way. Mandalorian has 3 seasons. Because don't fool yourselves.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Don't fool yourselves that if Andor season 2 is not great, and up people saying, it was one and done, it was a one-hit wonder, it stinks. Mandalorian's better. Mandalorian's had 2 great seasons. Third one was okay, and so right now Mandalorian still, writing wise, still Andor tops it. It's the best written, but I put Mandalorian and Andor right there as 1 and 2 with Rebels probably as 3. I'll go there.
I would put, and Andor was my favorite show
Yeah.
last year. I would put Mandalorian 1
Right.
as a series.
Right.
Andor 2, Rebels, or Clone Wars, then Rebels, I think.
Yeah, I liked Rebels through line better than
Maybe,
there's
yeah.
there was kind of a lot of anthology kind of stuff going on, which
Yeah.
is fine.
I'm gonna say a hot take.
Go ahead, Billy.
I do agree, Mando over Andor. Still.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this: wherever my ranking goes, I would put Boba Fett over Obi-Wan.
You know, there's not.
I just would
it's
because thinking back now to both of
Yeah,
those shows,
yeah.
I'll still pop in Boba Fett from and like even the stuff at the beginning with him with the Tuskens was really damn good. There was less.
I don't think it's.
There was more
crazy.
good than bad as opposed to Obi-Wan. There was more bad than good.
I
for
liked
me.
both of those shows.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's. I understand where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
It
I
leans
do.
more into Mando leans more into the Boba leans more into Mandalorian for me. That fun serialized cliffhanger Star Wars where Obi-Wan could have been a really solid dark movie, and it just
No, you know what it is?
choice wise didn't click.
I don't disagree with you. The thing is that when Obi-Wan has the cool stuff, it's got really cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's and so it's less boring than Wait, hold on. It's less boring than Boba Fett, which Boba Fett's can be really dull. The difference is, I think that if you fit the tone stays consistent in Boba Fett from if you're bored from frame 1, you're bored to the end. But the difference is there's less fast forwarding to happen in in Boba Fett than there is in. There's a lot of stuff.
Well, I'm saying this,
There's a lot
and
of stuff
maybe
in
this
Boba
has
Fett.
to do with budget, and you're spending a ton of money on Anakin or Ewan and Hayden, but the sets and the design was so boring. Like, hey, I'm going to walk through some hills, and here's a guy in a cart that's going to take me across these
You said it, though.
hills of Santa Clarita. I'm just like,
But you said it though. The story choices, the music choices. There's just a lot.
the design
there's
choices.
a lot of stuff.
Him sneaking into that thing. I don't care that they were robed up or whatever, but it was just like, oh, it's a couple desks with a couple computers and just a room. It was like,
Yeah.
Star Wars is known for the production design of these great production designs. So this was just like,
I could put either one of them as last, to be honest.
even the
with you.
chase with Vader and the sand hills, these little coal mounds. I'm
Yeah.
like,
well, you would have
where
been.
are they?
but
What
you
is
would-
this?
You would have been. I would have. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like before it came out, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this fight a million times over." I think I've watched it once or twice. I've never.
I haven't watched Obi-Wan since.
I've never gone back and watched.
And we
it.
both said could have been the greatest thing since Empire. That's what was our quote.
It was.
and I would stood
No,
by
it
that.
just didn't work. All right, let's see. We'll do a couple more, and then we got to go. Here it is. Next one, and this would be Sean Callan. Hey, Kristian, love the show. What are you guys looking more forward to seeing in the Ahsoka series? I'm looking forward to seeing everybody kind of in this live action. The way that they're set it up, but it is another series of Rebels. What I also think, and this is going back from that quote, I think that Dave Filoni might be fooling himself, and same with Rosario Dawson. There are going to be a lot of people who will be lost watching this show. Because,
Probably me.
But you're probably going to watch Rebels leading into it.
Yeah,
that's
I know the backstory. I don't know the depth.
Yeah, but you'll
Start now.
no
Real quick, the guy that made the appearance in Mando 3, Zeb, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is he in Ahsoka? Because he's part of the group, isn't he?
I would assume he's probably going
Yeah.
to show up.
I
now.
think that
Okay.
was the
Yeah.
like
tease?
the
Yeah.
introduction.
Okay, because I was like, is he just a random cameo in this?
If he's running around in the
universe.
cantinas and stuff,
Yeah.
then why wouldn't you put him there? And he looked great.
he
He
did.
looked
He looked
fantastic.
great. So the thing is that you'll wind up watching it, but for other people who don't watch it, and I'm not telling you that you're gonna have to watch certain episodes or you're gonna watch something to know what's going on. Maybe they make a good purpose of not doing that. But what we were talking about before, emotionally attached. The reason why we're going to be so emotionally attached to it is because we've been through seasons upon seasons with them. So by the time you get there, when Steph and I watch for now, until you watch, but we're going to go, Hera, what has she been doing too? Where's her son? Where's this? We know. People tuning in for the first time, how are you going to get those people invested? Just not
Or
just
Ezra's story.
right?
Yeah.
But that's a big point because you've got to remember, and a lot of criticism for Mando 3 was people like, oh, what is all this lore they're going into? I don't.
They didn't. No, they didn't. I
barely
didn't hear that.
touched
I didn't
it.
hear
Mando
that.
3?
I didn't hear that at all. They barely went into any lore.
But people are
Barely.
talking
About who was talking about that? I heard
just
any
the
of that.
Twitterverse. I'm talking
I
just
never heard of that.
not the people that are ensconced in the Star Wars world. I'm talking people like, I was so much about like okay, like the myth. What is that monster? What did that mean to them?
Well, they just didn't explain it well enough.
right.
Right.
So people that had no clue, we could kind of fill in the gaps.
That-
but
well,
everyone
that's-
else, the
yeah,
general
that-
audience is like,
Well,
what the hell?
but that's a different point. The point is that if you're gonna introduce it, if you're gonna have Bo-Katan talking to Grogu about her past, well, then tell us more about Satine. Tell us more about whatever.
Sure.
Because let people know who haven't watched the series.
You have to
who
put
these
them
people
in.
are.
Fill
Yeah,
those blanks for these
but
people.
Fill in the blanks. It's less about.
have to,
it's
though.
less about having a lot of the lore. It's like expand on it and tell us more about it, so people who didn't watch Rebels know what the hell is going on. It's like, don't just assume that everybody watched Rebels. Don't just make the show for the hardcore fans. If you wanted to expand, I think he's making the show for the hardcore fans. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
but it's not.
The hardcore fans don't pay
move.
the bills.
No.
As much as we in our little Twitter sphere and social media sphere,
Yeah.
that's not the giant world of the people living in Missouri that
It's not a good
tune into
business
Star
decision
Wars.
if that's the case. All right, next one, and this is me going off the air. Here it is.
What's going on?
Did that one. Wicked Art. By the way, Wicked Art. I want to, so Wicked Art had made this. He not only is the one who made this beautiful design in the back that we're looking at. He also did a Capes and Cals comic book that
Oh,
will
that's
be,
cool.
that will be available to the website members, and you'll be able to get that in both hard copy and digital. And we're going to make that available probably in June. Just want to let him know because he sent it to me, and I've just been so busy, I haven't had a chance to respond to emails. But I got it, and I'm excited. The final copy it has been delivered. All right, Wicked Art. He says, been playing Jedi Survivor, and the story and lore, and they're so cool with the High Republic stuff that they also included. Do you think they are setting it up and we'll get High Republic era shows or movies soon? I think that they're making it. This is, again, why I'm giving such high credit to the team that's involved. Because that team does want to get people more involved. Remember this though too, which is the smart move and what they should be doing. That team handles the books, the comics, the games, the visions, all that. It handles all that. So of course they're going to want to tell you more about it inside because they want you to pay attention. They want you to think that it counts. The smart move by it is because it is canon inside the Jedi Survivor. The smart move by them doing that is because that will help build up the people who don't give a crap about the books over there and stuff too. It'll kind of force them into, well, look what we did here. Look what we put this little nugget in, and it really works. So I think that they're teasing High Republic stuff because High Republic is at the end of the High Republic for the Acolyte, and I think they're going to try to get the interest up in it more because they really push the book series high. So yeah, I do think that there's absolutely a push and why they're doing it.
Definitely, they made an entire show on Star Wars hosted by Christina Ariel about the High Republic. I think they're putting a lot of effort into this era of Star Wars, which I personally love. And I think the game, just like there's so much love for the game, I think that they're going to end up doing the rumor about making that a live action.
I think so too. And they're going to give you a little pause of a little taste of it in the Acolyte to say, look, this is the end of the High Republic.
Right.
Let us know if you want to see like it in all of its heights. But in the timeline, when they announced the timeline, that's one of the things too, by the way, that I give the team a lot of credit for. Instead of trying to, this is our DC universe and this is our Marvel universe. Like, no, it's not. We're not beholden to that. What we have is timeline. So if Steph Sabra, she just directed 5 big movies, and she wants to do something inside of the Star Wars universe, and she comes in. Well, what do you want to do? I love that you guys talked about this High Republic stuff. Like I read a couple of the books, and my story, what I was thinking is I want to play inside of this timeline. Do you have stuff inside that's open? Well, yeah, we were thinking about this story, or you have your own take on it, and then that's how you can play. And like directors and writers can come in and pitch stuff from those timelines. I think it's a very smart move.
Yeah.
So all right, let's do we'll do 2 more and then we'll get out of here. Thank you to Wicked Art, by the way, the man. He's the best. Okay, so here is, where the hell is it? Oh, okay. Next question. Gunslinger 199. This question feels more appropriate here. Do you think that they will fix the Darksaber in Ahsoka and never mention it in season 4 of The Mandalorian? No, I think the Darksaber is done.
Yep.
I think I don't like the way that they did it. I understand why they did it because it was more so about showing it's more about unity than just one simple thing. I get the message. One of the many things I think wasn't handled wonderfully. Like, he crushes it with his hand.
I
and
know.
It's so silly.
It's like the one thing that I got from Galaxy's Edge too. Like,
was the
now it's just
Darksaber?
destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love my Darksaber.
It's great.
Now
Well, you're the leader of Mandalore now.
right.
That's right. Well, yeah,
Right.
but that's that, and so yeah, I didn't necessarily love the way that was kind of played out, but I
Is
know
it more
But
kind
I
of
get
like, do you
it.
understand why they like, because
I get why.
I get why.
Yeah, it makes sense. I the choice itself of why.
We're not going to be beholden to this thing anymore.
Sure. I don't question that choice. I question the choice of how it was done.
Is there a book or anything that goes into who made it?
It
Or did it just
I
show up?
I feel like in the Clone Wars they explained it, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. It
Or
was
maybe
created by
Rebels.
like the leader of Mandalore.
Yeah, something like
great.
that.
Okay.
And who was a Jedi? There was a Jedi that came. It was one of the first Mandalore Jedi. I think it was a crossover. I'm pretty sure.
I have to
Again, we'll have
revisit.
people smarter than
yeah.
us telling
Much
us
smarter
that.
than us telling
Yes.
us.
All right. This is the very last one that we'll do. Nathan Judge. I know Disney will never do this, but how would you like a show about Palpatine finding Darth Maul and the origin of turning him into a Sith Lord? I feel like it could have similar impact to the Dooku episodes in Tales of the Jedi. Well, again, not for Nathan, not to go through the point. It has nothing to do with whether Disney will do it. It has a matter of if Lucasfilm wants to do it and they pitch it because they're doing Acolyte and Acolyte's leading with the evils, right? So if they decided, now, will Lucasfilm do that? I don't know. I don't know if Lucasfilm will run with it. I think that I do believe the rumor of her wanting to stay away from legacy characters for now, which is probably something they want to try to create a whole bunch of new things. But no, I don't think that they're going to do it. I would love to see. They actually touch on that in the Plagueis novel of how he finds.
I would love to see Baby Maul in Tales
Yeah.
of the Jedi.
Oh my
Can you imagine his
God.
little
Tales-
baby
Tales
horn?
of
Oh,
Sith.
Steph, Jesus. Come on. I can't. Okay, I'll say something. I got my 2 cents I got thrown here.
Go ahead, Ralph.
am I the only one out there, and then you guys that listen and watch this,
Yes.
that's just like, you know what, Maul, when he first showed up in that Phantom Menace, was so badass.
Yeah. Who else?
And then he died, and that should have been it.
You haven't watched Clone Wars, though.
I know. And then he pops up in Solos, and he's
Can't
got
say
robot
this guy.
legs, and this one over here wants baby Maul.
But you can't- no.
It takes away the mysteriousness of the character. Sometimes a character is just evil, and I just want him to show up and be a bad motherfucker.
He is bad.
But I don't want... You know what I want?
I
You know what I love?
I love that you edited the bad part, but still
Yeah.
said the other.
You know what I
part.
love? You know what I love, Steph?
What?
Sometimes
Jeez.
I want bad guys to just like
Just
the
be
High
bad guys.
Evolutionary in Guardians.
Yeah.
There's not a single redeeming thing about
I
that guy. He is
hate
a
him. I
horrible
hate
Yeah,
him.
I'm with
human
you.
being.
I don't like
So
when people are
sometimes I
redeemed all the
just
time.
want.
Maul's not redeemed.
He's
But
not.
Maul's
He's
teaming
He's
up
not.
with this and that, and
No,
he's
no, no,
this
no,
and
no.
he's this,
You- see,
and
you-
he'll see the sides, and he might team. He
Even
might
though- even
have
though
an
you're-
aggressive. Did he ever? Does he ever seen with Obi-Wan where he's kind of like, all right, we'll team up to fight this
No.
other villain? Is there
No.
any kind of
No.
team up with them or
No.
No,
something?
he's an angry-
That man killed his mentor.
So
He
you're
never
not.
wants to be not on the dark
Yeah.
side.
So what you said, what you just said there, your first point of the redeeming thing, you got me.
Yeah.
You lost me on everything else because you didn't watch the series, and the way that they handled Maul in Clone Wars worked really
and
well.
Rebels.
But I
And
don't want him
Rebels.
walking around. Oh, that would have been before his legs, right?
What's
Rebels, yeah.
Rebel?
Clone Wars
no,
would be before.
No,
Oh,
no, he's,
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah,
no,
it's
he's-
Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace. I
once-
don't want to see that.
Once he comes back, the one
Who pulled him out of that?
I want you to take it easy first.
Who pulled him out? I'm coming in hot. Now I'm getting worked up. I have to go to work now after this. I'm not even worked up at work
What
yet.
are you
When
worked up about?
when he first shows up with the spider things, it's going to drive you nuts.
Oh, for
But
what
but-
spider things? His
His
legs?
His legs.
Who
But
pulled him
I
out of that
didn't
pit?
care.
That 1,000-foot pit he
just
fell down.
watch the
Just
show.
watch the show. And then what I will tell you is that with the whole Mandalore stuff with him is
It
fantastic.
works.
The stuff with Ahsoka, fantastic. Sam Witwer does an amazing job. By
With
the way, as Maul.
Ezra, works.
Yeah. Oh, the Ezra stuff works. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really does. It does play. And that
Don't
episode.
knock it till you try it, brother.
For, I loved how white you sounded there all of a sudden.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, brother. Okay.
Hey, Skittle do.
We're couple of baddies up here. Don't knock it till you tried it.
He may have had a spider legs, but man, he was fun.
Yeah, I really like that. It was nice metal and everything.
Anyway, that's what our episode's all about. So enjoy the. I hope you had a good time here on Big Thing. We had a good time, and we're glad that you enjoyed it. We hope you did. I don't want to just assume. But any comments that you have, leave them down there. Let us know. Make sure you check us out on Spotify as well, and check us out in New York, man. We're going to be there in New York, Stamford, Connecticut, all that and more. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to Steph. That's it, everybody. Let's get out of here. It's Sith Council. Peace.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus.